Hello dear JEE Advanced aspirants, welcome to Xylem Learning. In this video lecture, we aim to highlight the deeper concepts within the small details of JEE Advanced level questions. So, this is a previous year JEE Advanced question. Actually, this question is based on relative velocity. See, aeroplanes A and B are flying with the constant velocities in a vertical plane at an angle of 30 and 60 with respect to horizontal, respectively as shown in figure. The speed of A is 100 root 3 meter per second. At t is equal to 0, an observer in A find B is at a distance of 500 meter. That means the relative separation between A and B is 500 meter. The observer from A sees B is moving with a constant velocity perpendicular to the line of motion of A. Then, if at t is equal to t0, at t is equal to 0, they are at initially they are separated by 500 meter. At t is equal to t0, within the time interval t0, A just escape being hit by B. So, being hit by B, which means the separation becomes 0. And t0 in second, we want to find that time interval t0. See here, A and B are moving with some particular velocity, making an angle 30 and 60 with the horizontal, and this is the direction of motion of A. This is the direction of motion of A, and this is a line drawn which is parallel to the line of motion of A. An angle made by A with the horizontal is 30 and B with the horizontal is 60. So here the angle between A and B will be, and this is velocity of B, A and B, angle between the line of motion of A and B will be 30 degree. This will be 30 and 60 minus 30 will be 30 degree. And we can resolve the velocity of B. The velocity of B along the direction of A is VB cos 30. And the velocity of B perpendicular to the line of motion of A is VB sin 30. Okay, now we can find out the relative velocity. The relative velocity of B along the direction of A is 0. How? Because the observer from A find that B is at a distance of 500 meter and the observer from A sees B is moving with a constant velocity. An observer from A can only experience the relative velocity of B. So, the relative velocity of B is only along the direction which is perpendicular to the line of motion of A. So, the relative velocity of B is only along this particular direction. So, relative velocity of B along the direction of A is 0, which we can write like the relative velocity along the direction of A is 0, and that is equal to relative velocity of B with respect to A. Relative velocity of B along the direction of A is VB cos 30 minus velocity of B minus velocity of A, that is VA. Okay, this is the relative velocity of B along the direction of A, that is 0. So, we can write VB cos 30 is root 3 divided by 2, that is equal to VA. VA is given in the question, that is 100 root 3. 100 root 3. This is the key point of the question, which means an observer from A sees B is moving with a constant velocity perpendicular to the line of motion of A, which means the relative velocity of B is only in this particular direction, which means relative velocity along the direction of motion of A is 0. So, we can equate these two, root 3 get cancelled out, and the velocity, absolute velocity of B will get, that is 200 meter per second. See, here initially A finds B is at a distance of 500 meter at t is equal to 0. And if at t is equal to t0, which means initial separation between A and B is 500 meter, at t is equal to t0, A is just escape being hit by B, which means at t is equal to t0, A and B are very close to each other. Within the span of t0 time, B is relatively traveled by 500 meter, and that time taken we have to find t0. So, t0 is nothing but t0 is equal to initial relative separation between them, that is 500 in relative separation between them is 500 divided by velocity, relative velocity along this particular direction. So relative velocity along this particular direction is Vb sin theta, Vb sin 30, that is T0 is equal to 500 divided by relative velocity, velocity of B is 200, and relative velocity along this particular direction is velocity Vb sin theta minus A do not have a velocity component along this direction. So that relative velocity is equal to Vb sin 30 minus 0, because the observer do not have a velocity component along this particular direction. So that is why relative velocity is Vb sin theta only. Vb sin theta, that is Vb is equal to 200 into sin 30 is 1 by 2. So that is 0, 0 can cancel out, that is equal to 5 seconds. So T0 is equal to 5 seconds. That is the answer of the question. See, the first key point of the question was the relative velocity of B with respect to A along the direction of A is 0, because an observer from A sees B is moving with the velocity, B is moving perpendicular to the line of motion of A. So the relative velocity of B along the direction of A with respect to A along the direction of A is 0. So we can equate velocity of A is equal to velocity of B, cos component of velocity of B, that is velocity of A is equal to Vb cos 30. And the second point, the relative velocity of B perpendicular to the line of motion of A is Vb sin 30. These kind of small details elevate the question, elevate the complexity of the question to an advanced level. This is JB from Xylem Learning. Thank you so much. Bye.